The Western Cape Education Department is criticised for not doing enough to place pupils at schools timeously. Well, Premier Alan Winde recently announced a new education MEC. That's after Debbie Schäfer resigned. So what's the reaction to the change? For this, reporter Ronald Masinda joins us now. Ronald, education is a very important part of society's structure. It's something that regularly forms part of government's discussions in improving conditions. What's the situation in the Western Cape and what's been the reaction to the changes?
Anna, good afternoon. Well, Debbie Schäfer, the MEC for education here in the Western Cape, has certainly had her hands full over the past 80 years, serving at least around 1,500 schools in the province. She will vacate her position on the 15th of May, but before then she will have to do a handover to the incoming MEC for Education, Mr. David Mania. I am joined now by the MEC. MEC, thank you so much for your time and inviting us to your home. Firstly, how would you reflect on the past 8 years?
It certainly has been full time, as you said. It's been a huge learning curve for me. I was not an expert in education. I'm actually a lawyer by profession, so I've learned a tremendous amount from the people I've been working with, people I've been interacting with. And yes, I think it's been certainly difficult, but it's been a huge privilege and a huge honor to have served in this position. And I really hope that I've made a positive impact.
All right. In the past, you have said, when I spoke to you, that you have sort of improved things during your time. Where do you think still are where the challenges lie in the education sector?
Yeah, let me just first highlight my main achievement. I really think is the Western Cape Schools Education Amendment Act, which created the Collaboration Schools and the School Evaluation Authority. There are still lots of things that need to be improved, no question, but I think those two things will really make a difference and are already making a difference in accountability of schools and improving the whole system. What needs to still be improved, one of the things I have been concerned about for quite some time is our maths participation rate. We have very good mathematics results and our pass rate is really good, but the number of people taking pure maths is not as good as I would like to see. So yesterday I was very privileged to be launching our new mathematics strategy. So I think that's setting us on a good path for the way forward to increase that. I think we need to look very carefully nationally at how we report results, because I'm of the view that the league table results that is used for the matric results is actually forcing schools and learners to take subjects like maths literacy, which is fine for those who wish to, but it's better to have those who can pass pure mathematics passing pure mathematics. But very often people take subjects that they feel might give them a higher result so that the schools can get a higher pass rate. And that's not good for our economy. So that's definitely one of the things that needs to be improved.
All right. One thing that many people will say needs also to be improved is the issue of student placement and also overcrowding at certain schools. Where is the problem there?
The problem is a complex one. It's not one specific issue. It's a culmination of a number of years of underfunding. There's a lot of funding that goes into education in the country, but it isn't always spent in the right places. And I've been fighting for a long time for the equitable share to be more fairly done, to be respond more quickly to the people moving. We've had a lot of people moving into the Western Cape, as has Gauteng, and there just hasn't been enough speed in responding to those issues. And of course we also have a strategy in the Western Cape to keep learners in school for as long as possible. So we historically have far more primary schools in the Western Cape than high schools. So we're trying to expand the number of high schools. And one of the issues is we see a big bottleneck in grade 8, and that is often where we have difficulty with placements, because we are in fact keeping people in school longer. So we're having a double whammy of more people coming in, plus the people who are staying in school longer, which is great and what we want, but it's creating some problems for us. So there needs to be quicker responsiveness. The infrastructure has to be addressed. There's got to be quicker ways of delivering infrastructure. That is Minister Mania's big challenge. He's going to have to sort that out. And we also have to make sure that the money responds better to the learners. We also have a big problem with the National Treasury not allowing special needs schools to be incorporated in allocating the equitable share, which is iniquitous, because special needs learners need more money than mainstream learners. So that also needs to be sorted out.
All right. Applications have closed now for next year. But in terms of the process itself, can it be improved, Minister, because people are required to apply online, many of whom don't have access to the internet?
In the Western Cape, there's not any reason why people shouldn't be able to access the internet somehow. Schools have been assisting. There are community members who've been assisting. There are a lot of hotspots, Wi-Fi hotspots. And it is better than having to go to 5 or 10 schools individually, because then the parents have to go physically to those schools, stand in queues, and then apply. So there have been some difficulties. We've been piloting it for the last few years, but I do believe that it is something that can work and will work. There still is obviously an opportunity, even though they have closed. People can still register, but they will be regarded as late registration. And people need to just reach out also to the districts. They also will help. We've had special desks in certain areas to be set up to help people. So if they still haven't managed, they can go to the district office and apply to several schools at that office.
MEC, we saw on social media recently videos doing the rounds of students smoking at school, and there's also an element of school bullying in one video. Not necessarily here it's not happening necessarily in the Western Cape, what we saw, but in the Western Cape, how do you address such a situation?
It's an ongoing, very difficult issue. We all know bullying has been happening for centuries at schools. It's not acceptable, doesn't make it any more acceptable. And of course it happens in the Western Cape as it does everywhere else. We've done a number of interventions. We do interventions through our districts. We often have anti-bullying interventions via the districts during school holiday programs, for example. We had a campaign a few years ago called Raise Your Voice, Not Your Phone, to try and highlight to learners the importance of not being a part of the bullying. If someone's being bullied, don't take a photo and a video and then send it around. And that has been now strengthened by our latest campaign we've just launched as well, details of which can be on our website under A for Anti-Bullying, which is called Stop the Spread, and it's or Stop the Share, sorry, and that is a similar thing. Very often it's bad enough being bullied, but the extra trauma that is inflicted on people by people taking videos of the bullying, and sometimes even worse than bullying, and sending it around for other people to see, that is extra trauma, and it's totally unacceptable. So we're doing what we can, but it's not only an education issue, obviously. It's a societal issue that really needs addressing from the ground up, from the families to schools. What we're also doing is a change mindset and a growth mindset program in schools to try and also assist the learners to realize that they are special, unique, important, and can do things that they may think they can't do. And we're really hoping that over time that will also have an impact to give them more security, because often bullies are just insecure themselves and they take it out on other people. So we're doing a lot of things to try and deal with that.
MEC, very lastly, I have run out of time. Just in terms of David Mania himself, just very briefly, what advice will you give him?
You're going to be doing a lot of reading, a lot of listening, a lot of learning very quickly. I think I would advise to listen more than speak initially until he has a better grip of what goes on. Education is far more complex than anyone realizes, and I speak from personal experience. And just really, you need to be strong. It's difficult. He'll have a lot of challenges, but he needs to highlight the accountability issues. I would love to see him continuing, expanding and strengthening the School Evaluation Authority, collaboration schools. And he's going to have to stand up to people. It's not always going to be easy, but ultimately take account of the expert advice, listen to it, and then make your own decision.
All right, MEC, thank you very much indeed for your time. That was the MEC for Education here in the Western Cape, Mrs. Debbie Schäfer.
Thank you very much. That was reporter Ronald Masindo.